Hi, it's Calder from Singing Matters once again. Welcome to today's video. I'm going to talk a little bit outside of vocal technique today. I've been a bit slow keeping momentum going over the summer. I've had some big gaps, which isn't helpful on a YouTube channel. And one of the things I've been meaning to do is discuss wider issues, wider topics around music, being a professional musician, being a singer, and also songwriting. And today I'm just going to discuss something that's kind of at the back of why I had a big gap and was not putting so much content out for a while, I suppose. When you're not feeling it as a singer, when you're not feeling it as a musician, what do you do? How do you deal with that? And, how do we end up in that kind of a place as a singer or as a musician? So let's get into this. We know music is about emotion, right? It's about expressing emotions in sound. And as a singer, the vocals is the thing that connects the music to the listener. It enhances the sound with a kind of storyline or a concept or a central character or a central purpose or meaning or point. And although music carries lots of emotion, as singers, we're supposed to put that emotion into words or use words to kind of enhance what we're hearing. And we give it that sort of intimacy that connects it to people, and that's the job role as a singer. So what happens when you're really not feeling it? When you're not feeling like performing, or when you're not feeling the material that you're performing as well? I felt like this for so long in a lot of ways, and sad to say that the gigs I've been doing for all these years now, it's sort of 19 years since I started doing this professionally, really. You're kind of singing for other people. You're singing for other people's events. You're singing for other people's night out. You're doing private events. You're doing corporate events, weddings, parties, all that sort of stuff. And people often say on my YouTube channel, oh, good luck with your touring and this sort of stuff. It's not touring. I wish it was. It's playing at weddings. That's my main income, playing at pubs, playing at events and private parties, and therefore just singing kind of the most obvious covers that you could think of. And I've been trained to feel like I just need to play the most obvious songs. I'm so far from doing what I want to do in music most of the time. This doesn't bother some people. Some guys in bands and who play other instruments and stuff, doesn't sort of affect them that much. It's just they're kind of happy to be playing music and they can get something out of that. And it does become a job, It does just become a job. People think it's glamorous and exciting and not a real job. Of course it's a real job. You're providing a service. You're dealing with clients. You are dealing with contracts. You're doing customer service. You're setting up a load of equipment. You're doing a bunch of repeated bodily movements and functions, playing an instrument, singing, repeating words, repeating phrases, repeating lyrics and songs that you've done 1,000 times, literally, over and over again every week. It's a job. It's a job. For anyone who's under the illusion that it's not, it is a job. And I'm pretty sure artists who are doing their own material can get pretty, down with the monotony of it all and singing the same stuff over and over again. But at least they wrote it. And I think when people do allow themselves to feel like that, as a touring artist, they've got to remind themselves how lucky they are to be in that position to be doing it. Some bands won't play their biggest hits. And that's what gave them the fame to allow them to do that. It's a little bit rich, isn't it, really, to not feel like you should play those songs. But, of course, you're in a position where you can make those choices. And if people are buying the tickets anyway, you can do what you like, I suppose, unless they stop buying the tickets. So going back to what other people have to do, the other 90% of the musicians out there that make a living somehow in music, teaching, singing other people's songs, providing a service to entertain people, it's a very different game altogether, and it kind of matters to me. It always has. I've complained about this forever, wanting to be an artist. I've got kids, I have to pay the bills. It's just, I got paid. I found out that I could get paid doing this, and I carried on getting paid doing it. And then you look round and 20 years has gone by. And you have to, excuse me, I've got a bit of a cold. You have to keep getting paid, and you just have to keep turning up and doing it. But there are times when I'm not feeling it. And it's a sad thing, because really we should be connected to what we're singing. That's the whole point, and yeah, I can enjoy doing my songs. I can enjoy delivering songs that people love and recognise and remember. It gives them that little bit of nostalgia, gives them a different version of a song that they feel nostalgically. But it's always with a pinch of salt, and I've always sort of taken it with a pinch of salt and not seen it as that serious. Yeah, you should be doing songs that you're more connected to. You should be doing material that you feel, that means something to you. That's what music's for. That's what it's about. And I really struggle. I'm hitting this point at the moment where I've known this for so long, but I'm like, why am I doing it if it's just to please other people? Well, I know why. It's to get paid. And where there's got to be some way of bringing those two things together, the stuff that you enjoy, even if you are doing covers, and pleasing your audience. And when you just get shoved in a busy pub in the UK on a Friday night, there's not much choice about the material you can play. There's loads of choice. Someone would say, what are you talking about? There's loads of choice. Of course there's loads of choice. But it's got to be something that 80% of the people in the room know and recognise 80% of the time. You can't be playing loads of obscure covers that you like. It's not what you're there to do. You won't keep getting the bookings. And I'm very easily led by what I'm shown, what's demonstrated to me in life, I think. And I just have become so trained to only pick certain types of songs that I don't even know how to start finding covers that I want to sing. And the trouble is, I don't really want to sing covers at all. I want to just be an artist doing my own stuff, and I'm not managed to create a life where that's possible. I haven't managed to find earnings in other areas to make that possible. Of course, we live in 2024 where it's hard to make a living whatever you do. And again, going back to that thing of it being a job, it is a job. I teach at a college. It's a proper job. I've got a contract there for 3 days a week now. I actually do it over 4 days, 3 days worth of pay split over 4 days, frustratingly. But I teach in the evenings, I teach on my other day off, and I gig at the weekends, and I teach at the weekends. It's just non-stop, being on your own, providing for your kids, having them half the week, working every minute I'm not with them. Life's not easy sometimes. So I keep turning up and I keep doing the gigs. But it'd be nice to get to a point where I'm doing music in a way that mattered, again, in a way that actually was for me, that was for what music was there for, to express your own story and your own feelings. And of course, hope that people relate to that and reflect on that. And I've managed to do that on the odd occasion. I've managed to release songs that people really relate to. And, three people have tattooed my lyrics on them. I'm always mentioning that. There's people walking around with my words tattooed on them. I must have been saying something that connected with people for that to happen, which gives you a little bit of faith that you should keep doing it, right? So I think in any area of music, you're going to get to that point where you're feeling the monotony of it. You're touring endlessly or you're gigging endlessly, and that's life. You do anything for a number of years, it starts to get really boring. You get very, very used to it, and it's hard to find that way of freshening it up. And you have to to deal with that, you have to act a little bit. And I think as singers, we have to act more, because you're a front person. You are the thing that stands between the music and the audience. That's your job. You have to find a way of connecting the song to the audience in your vocal delivery. I think I'm probably always good at doing that, whatever I'm feeling like. I mean, I've been on stage, stage in the corner of a pub somewhere with loads of people making a load of racket doing their own thing, because that's what it is. You're playing to people's backs. You're just in the same room. They're not there to see you. They're doing their own thing. They'll laugh loudly at a joke when you've just done the most intimate part of a song, and throw you, and you just have to let it go over your head. And it's sad doing a lot of gigs. After a while, doing those sorts of gigs, you don't care anymore, because it doesn't matter. You're just there doing your thing. It's a funny old game, and it's a tough old game. But in a gig where it is more of an actual gig and you're performing and you've got the attention of the audience, you have to find a way of whatever you're feeling like, delivering something and entertaining people. And I've been almost on the edge of tears, suffering with whatever I'm suffering with in my own world, probably because I'm completely burnt out by trying to keep everything afloat. you know, and whatever I'm feeling like, I'll channel it into my vocals. I think I'm quite an emotive person. I think part of the reason I became a singer and moved from behind the drum kit and onto the front of the stage is because of that. I'm able to channel those emotions into my performance. I've got a lot of emotions to channel. But you have to kind of act a little bit. You have to be more of an actor if you're a front person. You have to deliver something of a performance. You have to act that you mean it and you're feeling it a little bit more. When you're playing bass, you just play some bass. You're playing guitar, you just play some guitar. You can get away with it. Whatever you're feeling like, you can hide a bit more on other instruments. And people might argue with that, but they might not have been a front person, so they don't really know. It's very different sitting there as a supporting role, letting someone else front it. So it sounds like I'm whinging and moaning and complaining. I'm not. I'm just reflecting the truth of what it's like playing gigs endlessly, providing a service for other people. Music matters, and you want it to matter, and you want it to be the music that matters to you when you're performing in front of people. We can't always create that. I just get stuck with how to find covers that I actually want to sing that also does the job of entertaining the audience or providing the right sort of service for the audience. It's a real tricky balance, that. And I'm so not interested in singing other people's songs that I can't find it within myself to answer that question and look for the songs or find the songs or even think of them at all, to find the material that finds that happy balance in between. So, yeah, we have to connect with what we're singing. I think it's important. I think we should be doing stuff that we connect with. And I've spent too many years just kind of doing stuff that I'm not bothered about, or even if I liked it 10 years ago, I'm pretty, done with it by now. So I don't know. What's the point in all this? It's just a little bit of reflection. We have to find a way of getting through it. And I think, sooner rather than later, if you're at the earlier starts in your career, trying to get out there and make music, try and stick to what matters to you. It's hard to do, though. It's really hard to do that because there's a lot of money to be made playing what other people want to hear. And I suppose if you're lucky enough, you'll be playing stuff that you want to play that also pleases your audience. There's a big gaping hole in between those two things for me right now. So, yeah, it feels like I've been trained to put my taste to one side. And I just want to be an artist. And what's great is just this. I think the only reason I'm able to do this video today is because I've had a couple of weeks without any gigs, and I'm really enjoying not having any gigs. I'm so not wanting to be out there performing this same stuff. I've seen it all. I've done it all to death. And I'm actually recording songs. I've got these mics set up. I'm getting some guitar down. I'm doing some songs of mine. I'm working on some things. I have learnt one or two other covers because I've had this breathing space to actually do it. And I think it's tough making a living as a musician. It's tough making a living in 2024, especially in the UK. Don't know what it's like in other parts of the world, but I'm pretty sure if you're in the Western world, you're going to be feeling the same right now. It's not easy. So we've got to spin a lot of plates. Anyone who's working in music does a bit of this and a bit of that and a bit of the other. I know lots of people who make a living through it. They're all doing this, that, and the other. How do you do it with a bit of integrity? If you manage to build a following and you get good at your marketing, you should be able to do that. You should be able to do it in a way which has that integrity about it. And I'm just missing that right now, but I've been missing it for a long, long time. And I'm trying to get to a point where I can do the things that I want to do. I actually really enjoy coaching, though. And I think it suits me to teach. I like sharing my knowledge. I like sharing my thoughts and things I've learned and my experience. And teaching is something I do actually get a lot from. And it's great seeing my students make progress. I've seen lots of people make bits of progress recently, which is very, very encouraging. So keep it up, those of you that are doing it. I launched a Patreon a couple of weeks ago. I say launch, it exists. I don't like selling myself too much and doing all that stuff. I'm not going to create all these crazy sales pages and things that you see. It might work better if I did. But if you, want to support the content that I've put out on YouTube and buy me a beer once a month, as they say, feel free to join my lower tier on Patreon there. But I also offer one which is half the price of an hour lesson, a very reasonably priced hour lesson, I should add. Half the price of that once a month, and you get some one-to-one feedback on videos and audio clips, plus a chat feature where there's hopefully will be a community building up. I've only got a couple of people on there at the moment because everything's very small and very early days. There'll be tons of songwriting content on there, tons of extra videos and different things. And I'll just kind of answer your questions and try and keep you ticking along. Try and make sure you're not building up bad habits and mistakes in your technique. And like I say, a lot to do with songwriting as well. So I want to open it up to songwriting and talk about that on the channel. As my logo says, it's voice, performance and songwriting at singingmatters.co.uk. So it's just a little bit of a reflective one today. Sounds a little bit miserable in this, that and the other, but you know, it's just a little bit of the realities. Feel free to tell me your comments. I'd be really interested to hear what stage you're at in any of this, or what your thoughts are on any of this sort of stuff. I don't want to sound too negative. I loved music. It was the only thing that had made any sense to me. You know, I used to say music's the only thing that made sense to me. Music has the answer. Do I feel like that these days? Not so much, I guess. Less and less so. I feel less and less attached to the need to create and put music out there. But because I got to that point, I've tried to turn it around, because there's something wrong if I'm feeling like that. So it needs to be fixed. It'd just be really nice if, you know, the day job and everything paid enough for me to just focus on making my own music, or at least a bit more. But the guys that were in my band would have heard me say this 10 years ago. So, but that's life. It's a tricky old game. You can help in a very small way if you want to support this channel and support me in what I do. I hope some of the content I put out there has helped you with your vocals so far. If you're interested in songwriting and you get stuck with writer's block, I've got so much good material for that. I've got a whole course on how to smash writer's block and write your best lyrics ever, and all sorts of content about that sort of stuff. So I will be doing videos on that as well. I will continue talking vocals with people. If you saw my video last week, it will remind you that there are some really simple, basic things to keep watching out for that most people get told over and over again, and it takes a while for it to click. But when it does, it's great to see people's progress. So if you're interested in one-to-one lessons online or in person in Leicester, get in touch, and I'll see you on the next video. Feel free to let me know anything that you'd like me to talk about on this channel, and I'm going to try and keep the momentum going a little bit more over the coming weeks. So, as always, best of luck with your music and your singing. I'll see you in the next video. Cheers, guys.